What's up, guys? So we're going to apply Bergmann's rule to modern day life, to real life, and go over how that affects sports performance. So Bergmann's rule is an ecogeographical rule that states within a broadly distributed taxonomic clade, populations and species of larger size are found in colder environments, while populations and species of smaller size are found in warmer environments. Right? Bergmann's rule only describes the overall size of the animals, but does not include body parts like Allen's rule does, right? So human populations near the poles, including the Inuit, Unangan, and Sami people, are on average heavier than populations from mid-latitudes, consistent with Bergmann's rule. They also tend to have shorter limbs and broader trunks, consistent with Allen's rule. According to Marshall T. Newman, in 1953, Native American populations are generally consistent with Bergmann's rule, although the cold climate and small body size combination of the Eastern Inuit, Canoe Nation, Yuki peoples, Andes natives, and Harrison Lake Lillooet runs contrary to the expectations of Bergmann's rule. Newman contends that Bergmann's rule holds for the populations of Eurasia, but does not hold for those of Sub-Saharan Africa. So let's look at an example of this. You got your penguins here, right? Your penguin down in Antarctica is going to be big as shit, strong as shit, like hella big, hella strong. The one in Argentina, medium size, medium strength. And your one up here in the Galapagos is going to be skinny as shit and weak, small as shit, weak as shit, right? How does that apply to me? Well, you see, most of my ancestry is from Europe, right? I'm like 96% European, 3% Asian, almost 4% Asian, and 0.2% Mohawk, 0.2% Moroccan, right? So I'm mostly European, basically. 96% of my ancestry is European, thereabouts, right? With 3, almost 4% being Asian, right? So I'm going to have pretty good strength genetics, given that my ancestors largely developed in continental, maritime, and subpolar climates, and to a lesser extent Mediterranean climates, but mostly maritime, continental, Mediterranean, continental, arid, semi-arid, tropical, right? Upstate New York, continental, right? So let's talk about my attributes. Summary. So I have a 40 in endurance. I'm low endurance. 50 in speed, above average. 53 in strength. I'm high strength. So endurance. I am low endurance. Right? So I have a 40 in endurance, which is low for European males. And this addresses a lot of rumors, hype, which people have been saying. I'm specifically talking about Doug Heron, John Tarver, and Sterling Ince. All 3 of those dudes have said I'd be good in the 800. While the 800 requires speed, yes, it also requires endurance. No shit, right? So, what does that mean for me? If I have above average speed, good strength, but shitty endurance, right? And the only reason I was good at the 400, the only reason I was good at the 200, the only reason I was good at cross country was because of strength and a little bit of speed. I suck at endurance. I can't really train volume, right? I need lower volume sessions than other dudes because I have low endurance, just genetically, right? And they gave me the bike session. They gave me a little bike session to do. But if you look at the science behind it, literally, all the genes related to endurance are either non-applicable or they're low, right? I have a low endurance phenotype. ADRB2, for example, right? I have a GG genotype. That correlates to strength. That does not correlate to endurance, right? That means I have shitty endurance. Like, check out GSTP1. I have an AA genotype. That means I'm low endurance. The only endurance genes I really have are HIF1A and NFIA-AS2. So, they're dudes with more endurance than I have in the 800 meters. Why would I waste my effort in the 800 meters when I'm a low endurance individual? Yes, I have the speed, I have the strength, more than enough strength, believe me, but I don't have the endurance. It's why I don't play as a pure center midfielder. You will probably see me more likely to play left back, as an undersized center back, or even as a wing, or sometimes as a defensive mid. I am not a number 8. I am not a box-to-box, right? I will make a couple runs forward here and there, but I will not thrive in a possession-based system in soccer because I'm not an endurance guy, right? I'm mostly mesomorphic, largely of European descent. That is not compatible with endurance. I'm sorry, right? Like, I just don't have the genetics for endurance. Strength, yes. Speed, yes. Not endurance, right? Speed. I'm above average. I have a 50 in speed, right? So, for European males, I'm above average. You look here, ACTN3, I have a CC genotype, that's high speed. ADRB2, on 2 of my SNPs, I have a GG genotype, that's high speed, right? And the third one, or the fourth one rather, CPNE5, I have a CC genotype, that is high speed. That is high speed, right? So, extrapolate that down. So it says, I'm predisposed to middle and long distances in sprint. For example, 200 to 400 meters, right? And I thus may benefit from moderate and low intensity training. I was pretty damn good in the 400 in middle school, and I was okay in high school, right? Actually, it's funny enough, the 100 was my best event in high school, but that's because mostly strength. I have good speed. I have okay acceleration, right? I actually have to do speed work to get speed, right? I actually have to put in speed work to get speed, right? Because I'm predominantly a strength responder, right? I predominantly have genetics for strength. That means I have to do plyos to apply that strength to speed. You understand what I'm saying? I have to do plyos. That's why I have to do short sprints, velocity hurdles. Sterling Ince, again, sucks at training European athletes. I'm going to be quite blunt and honest with it. Sterling Ince doesn't know how to train European athletes, right? Whereas you see a lot of pure speed guys from West Africa and the West African diaspora. Most Europeans, their main attribute is strength. And some of us have above average speed, right? That being said, we actually have to do speed work to get faster. We actually have to do velocity hurdles, plyometrics, shit like that to get faster. And we have to do strength training, weightlifting, because our main attribute is strength. We use our muscles rather than our tendons to generate speed, right? For example, if I'm playing American football, I run a wheel route, catch a ball out of the backfield, or if I take a pitch, I'm probably not going to look to juke somebody. I'm going to look to stiff arm, and I'm going to look for yards after contact. Whereas a speed dude who has speed and agility, he's either going to run a go route Or he's going to either line up out wide, run a go route, or he's going to do a catch and run and try to juke somebody, right? That's the difference. Or in soccer, your pure speed guy is going to be a pure winger, right? Your strength to speed guys, good guy with good strength and above average speed, he can play as a winger, but more of a defensive winger, a fullback, but more of a defensive fullback, right? A center midfielder, but more of a ball-winning center midfielder, or a defensive midfielder, or as an undersized center back, or even a normal-sized center back, right? Because why? His best attributes is strength. He can use that defensively to win the ball. Or if he's a center forward, he can use that to play back to goal. And then generate speed through his strength, right? Again, Sterling Ince does not know how to develop athletes from Europe. He doesn't, right? It's the speed work. It's the combination of strength and speed. You see guys like Teo Hernandez, right? Marcos Llorente. Manuel Lazzari's more of a pure speed guy. But other dudes that are pretty damn strong. Oh, Llorente is actually a great example of this. Llorente's main attributes is strength, right? Llorente is a strong dude, right? How does he generate speed? He does it through his strength. Track and field. Simon Ehammer, Eusebio Cáceres, right? These more mesomorphic dudes that rely on strength to generate speed, to generate force, and to be strong in a fast motion, right? That's where I excel, right? Because ACTN3 not only responds to speed, same with ADRB2, they not only respond to speed, but they respond to strength as well. And that's the next component, right? The next component is strength. Strength, yes, strength. I have a 53 in strength. I'm high strength. So I am a high strength individual as a European. I have a 53 in strength, and that's high strength for European males. And so there's 4 types of strength. There's explosive strength, max strength, hypertrophy, and strength endurance. I have explosive strength, and I have a good potential to become a professional strength athlete and be able to develop strength in a shorter period than individuals with other profiles, and I may benefit from high-intensity resistance training to develop explosive strength. Explosive strength is the ability to display powerful efforts in the shortest amount of time possible. Weightlifting and throwing events. Well, my uncle threw discus in high school. My dad's cousin in Chicago threw shot put and discus in high school. I have pretty good strength genetics. And if you look over here, ACTN3, I have a CC genotype, that's high strength. ACVR1B, I have an AG genotype. It's another gene, but it's important in European athletes to determine whether they're strength athletes or not. I have an AG genotype, that's mid-strength. Both of the SNPs of ADRB2 that I have are GG genotypes, and that is high strength, right? MLN, GG genotype, high strength, right? ZNF608, CC genotype, high strength. That brings us to our next part of this. Power jumpers versus speed jumpers. Speed jumpers, ectomorphs, long legs, long Achilles tendon, small joints, low body fat percentage, typical ectomorph. And they find it difficult to build muscle influence power to influence their jump. And they rely on reactive ability, elastic strength, aka speed, and it naturally favors the least amount of time at plant, right? So in the approach, they by and large run with tall hips and good mechanics if that skill has been acquired, and their last step towards takeoff will typically will typically be with little knee bend to allow for the rapid takeoff contact. They will use their ankles and hips in the last portion of the bar clearance by extending their ankles and hips completely and quickly. They are hip-dominant jumpers with strong ankles to allow for the short amortization phase, which is the time spent changing direction as you are on the ground just before a very fast takeoff. Another way to identify this type of athlete will be by looking at his or her other events, as they typically excel in sprints, long jump, or hurdling. Power jumpers are naturally stronger in the lower body with thicker muscles and joints, leaning towards the mesomorph body type, like me. These athletes typically have high metabolisms and can build muscle easily due to responsive muscle cells, but also gain fat easier than their ectomorph counterparts. With their natural power, they favor a larger degree of range of motion at the plant, and in order to apply their absolute strength and explosive power. This is evident in a deeper knee bend before takeoff. It is worth noting that body types and its tendencies aren't set in stone, as many talented jumpers are a combination of ectomorph and mesomorph body types and may display a combination of factors presented above in their unique characteristics, based on their unique characteristics. See, I'm 13% endomorphic and 88% mesomorphic, right? So, again, two types of jumpers. Strength jumper. This is basically the same thing. Strength jumper tends to rely more on his pure strength and explosive ability to get up in the air. He tends to look less springy and a lot more powerful while jumping. He may even appear to be tearing holes through the floor when he takes off. When choosing his jumping style, he'll tend to do best jumping off 2 feet and feel quite horrid jumping off 1. He'll also tend to use a deeper knee bend and may have physical characteristics like thicker muscles and joints. He will tend to have natural levels of strength that are greater than his natural levels of speed or bounce. On the extreme end of this group are athletes like Olympic weightlifters, throwers, and many American football players. Many of these guys have spectacular vertical jumps over 40 inches and can exhibit their impressive power from a virtual standstill, but you won't see them dunking from the free throw line or winning any high jump medals. Right? So, it's the way we're built, right? And your elastic jumper, elastic jumper is known as the reactive elastic or plyometric jumper, tends to be naturally more fluid and often appears to take off effortlessly when he jumps in the air. Most of the time, he'll be gifted in structural department with long legs, long Achilles tendons, and small joints. He also tends to be naturally able to get up higher, jumping off one leg with a running start than he will from a two-legged takeoff. His levels of strength may be inconsistent with his performance, and even though he can become fairly strong, he won't ever be setting records in the weight room, due in large part to his long limbs. The elite level high jumper, long jumper are both excellent illustrations of extreme elastic jumpers. I'm more of a strength jumper, right? Just based on my body structure and neurological tendencies, right? So, and I actually have to do speed work to get faster, right? I can because I have the strength for it, but I don't have, I'm above average in speed, but high in strength, right? So, interesting. So that's interesting. Maybe I should calculate. So that's going to be my next video. Oh, dunkers of new and old, right? You have your 1 foot jumpers, John Morant, 2 foot jumpers, Shaq. Get it? Got it? Good. So, again, strength and defense. That's what I'm good at. You know, above average speed, good strength, and good defender. So, there you go. That would make sense given my fitness. High strength. So that could mean I'm good at defensive mid, center back. Well, see, this is why you have more European dudes in soccer who play fullback than those that are pure wing. Wing requires just pure speed, right? Fullback, you have to be stronger. It's a combination of speed and strength. Actually, all defensive... So the positions that are a combination of speed and strength: center forward, left back, right back, center back, defensive mid, and even some versions of a wide midfielder, right? Those that require more defensive responsibility tend to require more strength. Why? You need strength to tackle, right? You need strength to tackle. See right here? So, balance. This is from Passion for FM, Passion for Football Manager. You didn't know Football Manager is the greatest online soccer video game because it actually determines players into their certain roles, right? So this is the difference between pace and acceleration, right? So, and this is pace and acceleration. So, and this explains that you can tie this into, so you know how it said, I'm predisposed to middle and long sprint distances. So 200 meters, 400 meters. But why am I not an 800 guy? I don't have the endurance. You understand? So, acceleration. So, how quickly a player reaches top speed from a standing start. Such players are valuable in positions where the player should change position quickly in an event-by-event basis, both on and off the ball. It's a valuable trait for players if you like to give plays 1-2s, and is a necessity for wide players and attacking players as they take on their opponents with either frequent forward runs or into the opposition area or dribbles, right? Players with excellent acceleration and pace is more capable to take on his markers and move quickly around the pitch. Pace refers to a player's top speed, whereas acceleration refers to how quickly a player can attain their top speed. Pace is that top speed. A player's quickness can also be determined by his stamina and natural fitness, which is decisive for how long time the player can maintain top speed in both in terms of short bursts and over the course of a match. A player with low speed, right? A player with low acceleration but high pace can be quick, but will need longer and more space to reach his full quickness. Players will always be a little quicker without the ball than running with it. A quick player will also need good balance when running with the ball. So in this link to it is stamina, fitness, and balance and acceleration, right? So agility reflects how well a player can stop and start and move in different directions at varied levels of speed, both with or without the ball. An agile player will need pace, acceleration, and balance in order to move around, start quickly, and stop in various amount of times as they will work together in the match engine, especially when a player is running with the ball. See? So, balance describes how well a player is able to keep his balance and stay on his feet without the ball whilst being in control of their actions when moving, turning, or changing directions. In fact, a player requires good balance to withstand pressure and retain control of the ball when under pressure. With and without. Okay, off the ball, the players require great levels of balance when running at full speed or when making quick turns to lure the opposing marker. This means that the attribute is as important for playmakers and target men as wingers, attacking midfielders, and wingbacks. Balance is essential for playmakers and creators such as the enganche and trequartista. They require good levels of balance when retaining possession or moving the ball around the park by making through balls and more direct passes, since they are closed down regularly and put under pressure by opposing defenders, since they keep their balance on the ball to make them accurate passes around to players around them. Similarly, requires wingers or attacking midfielders to have good balance in order to stay on their feet and evade opponents when changing direction when in possession of the ball. Balance is essential in scenarios where the player is dribbling forward and has to zigzag between opponents. Another aspect of the game is in crossing situations. Wingers require decent levels of crossing to maintain balance before making crosses, or they need balance so they can make good crosses. They're required to get crosses in from the byline, running at great pace before taking the cross. So they need strength, agility, pace, and dribbling. Yeah, so jumping reach, obviously that's going to take into account how tall a player is. So jumping reach reflects how good a player is at reaching the ball in the air. It indicates the highest point an outfield player can jump with his head. It is influenced by the player's height. A player's height must also be taken into account when determining his jumping reach, as a tall player won't require as jumping reach as the tall player will have better jumping reach. This means that a player around 170 centimeters will struggle to compete against a player who are 20 or 30 centimeters taller, no matter his level of jumping reach. But this isn't, but it's not reflective of player's height, right? Strength, pace. Two players with the same height and different jumping reach can differ in quality aerial situations. So players who shall be good in the air need heading, balance, and strength in addition to being tall and have a great level of jumping reach to be a great weapon in dead ball situations, corners, free kicks, long goal kicks, stuff like that. So going back to pace, right? So speed is pace plus acceleration, right? Pace is top speed, right? So I have that top speed, right? Just genetically, I have the top speed, which is why I'm good at the 200 and 400, and I'm pretty damn good at the 100 too. But it takes me longer to accelerate, understand? It takes me longer to accelerate. So take, for example, someone like Teo Hernandez. He has great speed, but he has better top speed than he has acceleration. So it takes him longer to accelerate. So dudes like that are probably also going to have a good amount of strength. So they're also going to mostly play fullback, right? Some will play wing, but some will play fullback, right? So yeah, stamina, how long a player can endure high-level physical activities, obviously. I'm a low stamina dude, right? Strength reflects a player's ability to exert his physical force on an opponent to his benefit. A player with much strength will be able to use this strength to the advantage against weaker opponents. This attribute is important for players who are marking opposite players, but also for forwards, strikers. It's forwards because it's delantero in Spanish, right? Who need to use their strength in the air or on the ground to get away from a marker. That's what one of my best attributes is, strength, right? So I was going to try to find this because this article in here has a great breakdown. So all the attributes. Because it has like, here are the templates. So they're different type of ball players, right? Different type of ball players. There's athletic players, creative players, intelligent players, leaders, technical players, physical players. I'm athletic, physical, and I'm kind of technical, but I'm more of a leader. Leader, athletic, physical, right? So where would you see a player like that? Fullback, D-mid, center back, to a lesser extent, center forward. Center forwards usually aren't, they just lead the line in terms of offense, right? So you won't see them being much leaders, right? But they're big, strong, and athletic, right? So let's make up a player, like a hypothetical player. So good top speed, right? Above average acceleration. Let's go 15 on that. So jumping reach. I'm going to have decent jumping reach, right? Because I have the strength and I'm not really an endurance guy. And then in terms of I don't really go for headers. I do like to put in challenges, right? Let's give me... I mean, I'm okay, right? Now let's go... Now let's go... Like, you won't see me doing step overs, let's be honest. Yeah. I could develop into that, right? Like, I'm good at dribbling, but I don't have the tricks. I'm not, like, straight up dribbling, I'm just good. I'm just not technical. So mostly as a fullback or a wingback, well, technically a wingback or a ball-winning mid, right? And if you go over here, right, because overall, pace is speed plus acceleration. I have pretty damn good top speed, right? Acceleration, I don't know how I want to do this. Let's see. What is that?